Hi, I'm Professor Leah Rapanner. As a sociologist, I've made it my life's mission to take down every ridiculous gender myth out there. Like, do pretty people get paid more, or are women better multitaskers? This is Misperceived.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Misperceived. On today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about one of the mental load categories that came through my book. So I have a book that's coming out and I can finally talk to you about it. I have been dying to tell you everything that's in it. Well, not everything, obviously, but most of it, for the past couple of years. And finally, now I can actually share with the world everything that I'm finding in the book and what it means and how you can apply it to your life. And it's so exciting. I can't even believe it. But in this book, I have identified a range of mental load categories. Now, for those of you who are new to this podcast, welcome. I love you. Thank you for joining. But let me tell you a little bit about what the mental load is. So the mental load is emotional thinking work that we do to help keeping our work, life, and family running. The mental load is unique in that it has three main characteristics. It's invisible. That means you do it inside yourself. It's boundaryless. You carry it with you everywhere, and it's enduring. That means it never ends. It's this constant treadmill of tasks, this constant treadmill of thinking. And even when you think that something is done, something else comes back up. It's also enduring because it's tied to the people we love and our biggest hopes and dreams. So within this mental load that again has these three characteristics, I've identified 8 different types. Now, again, everything I do is coming from the research. So when I say I've identified, what I mean is talking to thousands of people, looking at thousands of data points, the research is showing there's 8 different types. And one of the types that's so interesting is this idea of dream building. Dream building is the mental load of how do I create the life that I want to have? How do I invest in my own dreams? How do I invest in the dreams of family? How do I make sure that all of the dreams that we all have are coming true? Now, if you're listening to this and you are a woman or a mother or a caregiver, you might have one of 2 reactions. One reaction might be right on, I'm moving towards my dreams and everything's great. But what the research showed and what I've heard from countless and countless women is 2 things. One is that their dreams became secondary, that they actually lost their dream building ability, that women's dreams often get starved, in part because they're so deeply investing in the dreams of others and the dreams of their children and the dreams of their husbands and making sure that everyone else's dreams are coming true, that their ability to dream, to think about their future, to think about what they want has kind of gone and to the wayside, right? It's become secondary. It's become less central and perhaps ways that, weren't true in the past. Now, if we think about this, what an absolute shame, because we know that women have more education now than in the past. We know that women bring different skills and resources to our workplaces. We know that women care about different things. And especially after becoming a mother, that they care about different things. Research on, from the policy level shows that they invest in different policies. So I'm going to say to you, this idea of starving women's dreams isn't just a problem for women themselves, but it's a problem for all of us. It leads us to worse worlds. It's actually leaves every single one of us with less. So my goal through this book and through the Mental Load Audit, which I'll introduce you to, a tool to help you actually align your mental load in very strategic ways, is to help women to start to reignite the dream. Now, since the book is coming out April 21st and you can't wait to start your dreams, I'm going to tell you, it is worth reinvesting and reigniting the investment in your own dreams. That's the first thing I want to say. So one of the kind of key themes from the research is hey, we've kind of forgotten about how to dream. We've forgotten about how to invest. Now, the second thing that I keep hearing, and this is something that I'm hearing as I'm having these conversations with women about the work, is that they feel like they have their dreams maybe, or they're reigniting their dreams. But man, this world is so hard that everything that worked in the past isn't working anymore, that the world is changing so fast, but the way in which I knew how to achieve or knew how to invest in myself, say 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, doesn't work anymore, that the goalposts are changing, that the things that are being valued aren't being valued anymore. And for many, they're saying things like, but I have an incredible amount of skills, but I can't seem to land the job that values my skills. There's a couple things going on simultaneously. So as I tell you this, like, cause I have had conversations with women, very incredible, competent, smart, dedicated women for the past 20 years in my career. And usually across these conversations, there's a couple things that come through from these women. The first is like, man, work is impossible. It is impossible for me to do everything I need to do in my workplace and also in my home life. And I can't do it. I cannot get it in balance. I'm stuck in overload. I'm so stuck in burnout. And I can tell that the problem isn't me, but it's a fucked up system. And I want to change the system. To those women, I'm saying to you, you are 100,000% right. You are stuck in an outdated system that doesn't work for you, that actually is based on this breadwinner model that has, one partner who's working and one partner who's at home. And this system is broken. And so if you're trying to achieve your dreams within the system and you're finding it impossible and you're burning out, it is not you, it is the system. If you are a man in the system too, because let me be crystal clear, this doesn't work for men either. It's not like, oh man, it's just gender inequality is bad for women. It is bad for everyone. The things I'm hearing from men too is like across our mental load interviews is they are so trying hard to be a new father. They are so trying hard to be invested in their families. They are so dedicated to their kids, but they can't seem to get their workplace to acknowledge that. They're worried about putting their head up and stepping out and being like an engaged father. They're worried what that will mean for them when they go back to work. They're worried about the stigma. They're worried about the consequences. And they're worried that they're going to be treated as lesser and they're not going to make enough money, be able to contribute to the family, or their careers are going to get stalled. That is incredibly scary to have to face when you know that cost of living is rising, when you know that everything is more expensive. So this is not a men versus women argument. This is not a gender war. We are so past the gender war. Like, let's move past this and let's move to a mindset that says, work is outdated and it actually is punishing for men and women alike. Traditional gender roles are outdated and it's punishing for men and women alike. This is the mindset I want you to get to, and less of a pointing fingers, but more of a, we're in this together. How do we make it better for all? That is the world we want to live in. Okay. So the first thing I hear is like, work and family are out of balance. I can't do it anymore. What do I need to do? I need to step out of my career and do something different. The second thing I hear is women who, some of them are the same women, who step out of this and say, I've stepped out because either work is too much or the caregiving demands are too much, because I'm sandwiched between my kids, my teenage kids, my mother who's ailing, someone who's living with a disability. I have a chronic illness. I can't not do the grind. It is impossible for me to do the grind. It is too much. The demands on me across all of these is too much. My good friend, Kate Mangino, who has a book out that you should read. She has a podcast, Equalish, said to me the other day, hey, actually, it's too much. Like, the mental load is too much for two people. Like, it's too much for one person and it's too much for two people. Add on to that having an aging parent, add on to that having a child living with a disability, add on to that yourself having a chronic illness. And you can see why the overload is too big. It's too much and you need to step out. Now, there is a recent report in the US that came out that said 450,000 women stepped out of the labor market in 2025, end of the 2025. Almost 500,000 women are out. A lot of the reasons why they're saying that is they have caregiving. There's multiple, one of which is they have caregiving demands for themselves or for others. And it's too much to try to combine that. I'm saying to you, that is a mental load drain that is made worse by policies that don't work for you. Your mental load is being made heavier by policies, by circumstances that are actually beyond your control, by structures that you live in that don't actually support you. Do you tell people about your caregiving demands or not? Do you get the workplace concessions or are you going to be penalized? Do you hide this or do you bring it into your workplace? And if you do, how will your workplace respond to that? That is an impossible question. So again, that's the second thing I hear. So first is like, work and life are impossible to balance. It's too much. The second is I have a caregiving demands that actually make this impossible and I can't do it. The third thing I hear is that these women who step out have a very hard time getting back in. The reasons are multiple. One, ageism. that actually there is discriminatory bias, conscious or unconscious, against older women, against women who are seen as, potentially more expensive because you're at a higher end of your career, or we want something kind of, less expensive, right? That you become more expensive, and it's seen that your skills are not valued. The skills that you brought or bring from decades of work are not the skills that employers seem to want right now. I've heard this from many women. What they're looking for is young and tech savvy. This is because the world is changing so freaking fast, right? I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, if you're engaged in this dream building mental load and you know where you're trying to go and you're trying to invest, but it is so hard. It feels so hard to figure it out because the things that you've spent your career investing in, the things that we told you you should have 5 years ago are not the things that you're being told you should have now. And I want to say to you, I'm speaking to you, women of the world, people of the world, you are right. The thing about the future of work, I run a future of work lab, and we've been looking at the changes in the future of work. Like, what should you be anticipating? And the thing you should be anticipating is quick change and unpredictability. And so the world is changing faster now than it did before. The work, like you are in this moment of historical context and time where actually there is this range of compounding issues that are coming on top of you that I am telling you, previous generations did not have to balance. They did not have to manage. They didn't. Yes, of course, women were out of the labor market before. They faced discrimination. They faced ageism, of course. Yes, of course, women of the past had caregiving demands. Yes, of course, they were sandwiched between aging parents and younger kids. Of course, they had these like multi-generational expectations. Yes. Of course, the world changed quickly, right? They faced wars. Of course. No one was doing all of that simultaneously while also facing generative AI. I'm saying that to you. I am sorry, but no. Generative AI technology is moving the world so quickly that actually what you thought you needed 6 months ago, you don't need today. What you thought employers were going to value for you a year ago, they're telling you they don't need. When you were told for generations of young people, go get a STEM degree, learn how to code, go get some sort of technology because Silicon Valley will scoop you up and there's going to be so many jobs in this area. Those jobs are gone. And when you're there told, you know what you need to do is just work your way up the hierarchy, keep investing in your career, keep going, you will be rewarded. That's not true anymore. I am saying to you, I want to validate you. The world has changed, and the world has changed almost like week to week, year to year, in ways that you could have never predicted. The goalposts are changing. The blueprint is changing. We don't even have a blueprint for how to be successful today. We don't have it because things that you may have done in the past, things the ways the world would have worked in the past are now gone. One of the key things we told women, and we did this training again and again, the key skill you are going to need right now is adaptability. You are going to need adaptability because the world is not going to stop changing. Investing in your ability to adapt, move, shift, and change is the key one of the key future work skills. Because if it is an environmental change, it's demographic change. If it isn't demographic change, it's technological change. If it isn't that, it's, aging populations. It's all of this coming on top of you at once. Globalization, the decline of democracy, right? Like, who are our allies anymore? We're in a new world order when, I don't know, we all just went to sleep and then everything got shredded, right? Like, you woke up the next morning and now the US is in charge of Venezuela. What? Like, where did that happen? And now they're going to take over Greenland. Like, I don't know. I went to bed last night, Greenland, we had this world order and I woke up and it's all gone. So if you are feeling like it is too fucking much, I am telling you from a sociological perspective, you are in these systems and structures that are shifting, that are making your mental load impossible. Now, I don't want to make you feel like I want to first by saying like, hey, you're right. And actually all of this is weighing down your mental load. I want to say to you in the same lens, like, You cannot solve as an individual institutional problems. Like you cannot be like, okay, well, cool. So now I'll be solely responsible for making sure that I meet my caregiving demands for aging population. I also am going to learn how to build up tech skill, right? Like you can't do it all. Like you can't solve the problems. But if you have the information, my hope is that you can make more strategic decisions. I want to say to you, like, I see you and you're right. These are institutional problems and shifts that are changing over time, and it is draining down your mental load. It is making your mental load burn out on things that you cannot control. If you can see that and start to figure out how to see what really is your next step, if you can get out of the overload, you can kind of piece through what are the things that are things you can control in the moment and things you can't, ways in which you should make strategic decisions and things you have to let go. If you can start to see some of that, to make little baby steps to move yourself forward and be prepared to be adaptable and shift and change as things emerge, I think this will be a helpful next step. But I want to say to you, no generation has been through this before. And so if you're looking to old models or old ways or old scripts, or you're going back to people who haven't lived through it to get advice, they don't know. They don't know, not because they're bad people, but because they aren't in it. They haven't lived it. And so their advice can't support it. Think about who really can you talk to about getting advice on how to do this? Where is your appropriate outlet? Because I'm saying to you, it's all moving so fast that the scripts are moving, the goalposts are moving. And so you have to keep your sanity in this moment. This is a macro drain on your mental load. Some of it will help you make more strategic thinking, but some of it is just going to drive you into burnout if you try to do it all at once and you feel solely responsible for it, that you alone are supposed to fix it. The answer to the future is not you alone. The answer to the future is community. The answer to the future is seeing where the potholes are, where the traps are, where we're being led astray, and where actually we need to step into our power to help create our lives, worlds, futures, and goals that we're trying to achieve. For some of you, these goals, these future goals will be employment or work-based. They'll be financial, but others of them won't. They'll be community-based. They'll be volunteering. They'll be giving to others. They'll be focused on your family. And we also need to expand what makes a good life. Maybe a good life isn't spending every single day, thinking about how to make more money. Maybe that's not where we're heading. Now, let me be clear. We need to have some economic availability, right? But maybe that's not the purpose. Maybe we need to make a wider view of what we value and the goals and how to get there. I'm just going to say one more thing. Bear with me. We did a research paper with myself, Brendan Churchill, Ariadne Vroman, and we asked people like, as the future of work changes and your skills are going to deteriorate, what would you want? And there are a couple of options, right? One is that we need to reskill. We need to be prepared for whatever's coming for the future of work. The second is that we actually need to reallocate the work, that actually maybe there will be less work to do. And so it will be spread across more people. And the third is that maybe you need to maybe actually you need to redistribute the wealth and the money that's coming to tech companies to help, spread that across the community, to make sure that as certain groups grow in terms of wealth, power, and influence, that money gets spread across the community, because some people will be displaced. Some people won't be able to find work. Some people will see that their jobs go down. Some people will see that income is deteriorating. And so I guess what I'm trying to say to you is to ask you with your own mental load, just to dream yourself out of these circumstances it's unrealistic. These are big problems with a capital B and a capital P. And if you are spending your mental load thinking them through, don't burn yourself. You're going to burn yourself out because you can't solve the problems. Okay. So where do we go from here? What do you need to do? May I ask that you please be kind to yourself, that you see that you are one in a bigger system, and that you start to think about what you can do today to build towards whatever that life is that you want to have. Think about how my mental load audit is asking you that. What are your goals? What are your ambitions in work, family, and life? And how do we take baby steps to get there? And how do we think about if we have a little bit more space and energy, if we had a little bit more mental load capacity, could we solve or tackle some of these big problems? I would love to hear what you think. How do we work together to address these problems that are big, that will require all of us to help and solve? As per always, thank you for listening to Misperceived, where you don't need a PhD, you just get to come hang out with me. And just to be clear, I see you, I love you, and I value you. Okay, bye. See you next week. Mwah. We are so lucky and grateful that this series is being supported by the Melbourne Public Humanities Initiative at the University of Melbourne.